Hello everybody, Lunter for Life here, bringing us a brand new video. So, I woke up to some cool stuff. God, there is so much. So, you know how recently we got a whole bunch of Gimmick Puppet stuff in the newest Legendary Duelist set? Well, Konami said that wasn't enough, so let's print more cards. Not just for Gimmick Puppets though, but for the whole Arclight family. Yes, that means Gimmick Puppet, Chronomaly, whatever the hell Dyson Sphere's archetype is. And of course, my favorite, Heraldics. For those who don't know, Heraldics were like one of my favorite decks to mess around with. I think I have like 3 or 4 deck profiles of them up on this channel from forever ago. I haven't really messed around with them ever since Master Rule 4 came into place because it really kills the deck. The Heraldics need a link. I'm going to be 100% honest. Heraldics need a link. Chronomalies need a link. I give them a link, Konami, okay? Both archetypes need a link so bad. The Gimmick Puppet one is perfect. Like, holy crap. And if Chronomaly and Heraldics could get a link even half as good as the Gimmick Puppet one, oh my god, we'd be rolling. So, unfortunately, neither one of them got a link, but they did get other bits of support. Just 1 card for each, it seems, in Ignition Assault. So, oh yeah, then there's also this random card here, but we'll get to that here in a second. So, first and foremost is Chronomaly Tespa Rocket. It's a level 4 Earth Rock effect monster with 1,000 attack and 1,000 defense. You can only use each of its effects once per turn. If it's normal or special summon, you can send one Chronomaly from your Chronomaly monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field. Until the end of this turn, that monster loses attack or equal to the level or rank of the sent monster times 200. So the deck has up to, I believe, a rank 7. So you could send the rank 7, who's one of the Chaos XCs, send it to graveyard, target a monster, drop it by 1400. That's pretty good. The main thing is that Chronomalies are an OTK deck through and through, and this helps out with that a lot. Also considering that you have the second effect here, where if it's used for the Xyz summon of a number Xyz monster, that monster gets to attack twice during each battle phase. So this card does a lot for Chronomaly in terms of just increasing how much damage they can put out. It's been a while since I've looked at Chronomaly, but basically this deck is all about OTKing and just swarming the field with your monsters and being able to go for tons of damage, mainly through the rank 4 and the rank 5. The rank 4 can drop a monster to 0, and you contribute 1 Chronomaly monster to target a monster your opponent controls. That monster's attack is whose current attack is different from its original attack. Destroy that target. Pretty good. And then, of course, Chronomaly Maku Mech is the absurd card in the archetype, where once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between its original attack and current attack, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to the damage inflicted. So, for instance, let's say you, I don't know, use Chronomaly Chateau Hook to detach to drop a monster that's normally 4k to 0, then you make Maku Mech, and then you use its effect to detach an Xyz material, targeting that monster. Your opponent takes 4k, and then Maku Mech gains 4k. It's insane. And now, along with Tespa Rocket, you can now make it to where it can double attack, which isn't that hard to do. And if you're wondering, oh, well, it's a rank 5, this thing's a level 4. They have level modulation in the form of Golden Jet, so you can easily make it, and it just results in so much shenanigans. The only issue I see with this card is that you have to rely on something else to get them out along with multiple other monsters. Chronomalies have a lot of ways to special summon each individual monster, but they don't have a lot of ways to special summon other monsters. It's really weird. The deck has a lot of monsters to say, you can special summon this card if such and such condition is fulfilled, but they don't have a lot of ways to summon other monsters other than that monster. So, the deck definitely needs more than 1 card. I would prefer to get a link as well. Maybe some actually good spell and trap support. They only have like 2 good spells and 1 trap that's okay. This is literally just to give them attack. They need this should have been able to do something else, but oh well. But yeah, the deck needs some like good spell and trap support, like a lot more. The field spell is amazing, but the field spell is like their only way of summoning monsters that are that don't have an inherent special summon clause on them. Moving on, we got Condolence Puppet. This card, guys, not only does it have creepy as heck artwork, I mean, who would willingly open up a coffin if... For one thing, who would willingly open up a coffin? And secondly, if you opened up a coffin and you saw a broken, creepy-looking doll in a goth lolly outfit, I would hope to God that you run the opposite direction as fast as possible. But anyway, so Condolence Puppet. It's a normal spell card. You can only use each of its effects once per turn and has 2. First effect, you send Gimmick Puppet monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extract +1. Okay, so let's say your opponent goes full Orcus combo and it's on like 3 extra deck monsters, okay? You activate this, you send 4 Gimmick Puppets from deck to grave for free. What the hell? This is so good for the deck. Realistically though, there is only like 2, technically 3 Gimmick Puppets that you want in the graveyard. All the others are literally just fodder for Jury Doll. So if you look at Gimmick Puppets, the only ones that really matter for being in the graveyard is Nightmare, who if he's special summoned, you can special summon another copy from the graveyard. Shadow Feeler wants to be in the graveyard because it's basically like a, how do I put it? Basically, if you take damage, you can special summon it from your graveyard. Then there's Jury Doll, of course. Jury Doll is the best one in the graveyard, where you can banish another Gimmick Puppet from your graveyard to special summon her from your graveyard. And that's really good. And that's really the only ones that you really want in your graveyard. Now, Terror Baby and Bisque Doll, 2 of the new ones, they both have effects in the graveyard as well, so you might want to send them as well, but you'd much rather have them in your hand, so you can use Bisque Doll's effect to discard another Gimmick Puppet to special summon her, and you'd much rather normal summon the Terror Baby to be able to special summon a Gimmick Puppet from your graveyard. So, that being said, you still got 3 goodish targets, really only 2, because Puppet Nightmare is just bad in general. But Shadow Feeler and Jury Doll are like your 2 main targets in general, which is pretty cool. Just being able to just flood your graveyard with Gimmick Puppets to get in your graveyard and also use Jury Doll's effect. So, this card also has another effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard and target a machine that exceeds monster you control. That monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while face up on the field. This literally just makes it to where your 3k plus bodies become immune to destruction by card effects. Your opponent has to run them over in battle. Gimmick Puppets have very high attack power monsters for the most part. This is their whole like extra lineup here, minus the big guy, which actually... Oh, darn it. Wait, does it target? It does. Darn it. You can't target your freaking Disaster Leo because it says this card cannot be targeted by card effects. I was going to say it'd be so cool to banish it from your graveyard, target Disaster Leo, so now it can't be targeted by or destroyed by card effects. But nah, it can't be targeted by your card effects either, which is annoying. But I digress. So... you know, making your big beefy monsters that much harder to kill is pretty nice, especially since Gimmick Puppet exceeds, and heck, Gimmick Puppets as a whole, their biggest issue is that they have no real player interaction during the opponent's turn. There's no negation, no stopping your opponent from being able to do anything, and it's always been a big issue with Gimmick Puppets, even back when they first got their like first wave of support like forever ago. That being said, the deck has no issue of putting big bodies on field, so, and this card just making it easier is going to be great. I mean, heck, I kind of want to try something with, like, Puppet Leo, because now you can use its effect from graveyard, target Leo can't be destroyed by card effects, and you just got to worry about targeting stuff and, you know, him getting run over in battle. But, hey, a 3200 monster shouldn't have to worry about getting run over in battle, but you'd be surprised. So, moving on, we got, the Dyson Sphere support, kind of. Dyson Sphere is a weird one. Dyson Sphere did not have... So the guy who played Dyson Sphere, I can't remember his name. I think it was Quentin. I'm probably wrong about that. He didn't actually play an archetype. Instead, he played a random, like, space-themed like deck. I almost said archetype, but it's not an archetype. Like Pathfinder, and then there was a level 9... I think it had like 9 in the name actually too, like 9. It's a level 9. I guess okay. Machine effect. I can't remember the thing's name, but it's like 9. It's like next to no attack power too. It's like 100. Where are you? There you go. Deep Space Cruiser 9. And then you had some spell card to like modulate levels and stuff. There's literally only like 4 cards in the whole deck, okay? It's really obnoxious. The fact that they did not give him a full archetype, which I think is a silly. It's kind of annoying. But anyway, so this is Arcjet Light Crafter. It's a pun on not only their names, but also different like things down here. It's just kind of funny. Level 9 Light Machine Effect Monster, 0 attack, 2100 defense. You can only use the second effect of its name once per turn. If you control no monsters, you can normal summon it without attributing. If this card is normal or spell summoned, you can target a level 8 or lower machine monster in your graveyard, spell summon that monster in defense position, but its effects are negated and its level becomes 9. And while it's on the field, you cannot summon monsters from the extra deck except for Machine Xyz monsters. So, yeah, this card is literally just make Dyson Sphere on easy mode, which is nice and all. Dyson Sphere is an obnoxious Xyz monster to deal with, unless like your opponent has some outside removal for it, because you basically can't attack it, and it can keep punching you in the face for it. It's really funny. I really like Dyson Sphere. The thing is an interesting gimmick. But yeah, this does make it a bit easier to make. It does kind of suck that you can't use it for other rank 9s, but otherwise people just use this as an easy mode for summoning out King Calamity, which is probably a good thing. Then we got my personal most favorite. Not only because I believe that personally this is the best card, but also because I love Heraldics. I know I say that like, oh, I have a ton of favorite decks, but really I do. And Heraldics has a bit of a special place in my heart, as it was my first real deck that I made for a long while. Glad Beasts were my first competitive deck. Heraldics were my first attempt at a real deck, because they got support in oh god, what was it? Abyss Rising and what's that fire set that Fire Fist came out and that this set also got support in? I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, it was just super easy to build, and hey, rank 4, so I love this deck so much. I've been wanting new support forever. And so Heraldry Charge. Still waking up, guys. Normal spell card. You can only use this card's name you can only use this card once per turn. It's a hard once per turn. Tribute 1 monster. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot spell summon monsters from the X deck except psychic or machine monsters. Also, spell summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck in defense position. This literally just gets you any 2 Heraldics from your deck for basically free, which is, I mean, I know I'd say basically free, but it depends on what you tributed. Ideally, you'll want to tribute Leo, because Leo is a searcher. When he is sent to the graveyard in any way whatsoever, it doesn't matter how he hits the graveyard, you get to add a Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of himself. So ideally, you normal summon Leo, you activate this, tribute Leo, special summon, I don't know, 2, does it say that that'd be, no, it does not have to be 2 with different names. Okay, summon 2 Aberconway from deck, because you would need 2 of them in your graveyard for his effect. Leo effect, adding Goodo and Fizbeta from your deck to your hand. Oh my god, this is making me a little nostalgic. I'm going to try and make a Heraldic Beast again. And then you can proceed to go off into the Xyz or some other stuff. Locking you into Machine or Xyz, I mean, Machine or Psychic is super weird. I don't know where the Machine part comes from, because not even Heraldry Crest, yeah, he's a Psychic as well. That is weird. I don't know where the Machine part comes from, but however, the big thing is that ideally you'll want to use this to make your Link monsters. And for Links, hopefully the deck gets their own, but however, for Links, you have, let's see here, ideally, let's go with 2. For the Goodo Machine Links, let's see here, you have not really many actually good options. A lot of these guys require machine monsters. Oh, Barricade Blocker you could make. That could get you the field spell back from your graveyard, which is nice. The deck the deck actually does need its field spell quite heavily. High Speed Red Rubber Band Shooter, if you're just caring about Link Arrows, is another good one, because the deck has tons of wind monsters, so it's not hard to make. And then, yeah, that's it. I don't think, is there any Psychic Link monsters? I can't remember. Psychic. Psychic. Okay, so there's only 3 Psychic Links, and thankfully one of them's actually, like, good compared to the Okay, so ignore the machine aspect, but focus on the psychic, because you can actually make Ciphering Lord Lambda with that, like, instantly, because it's just 2 monsters. And, hey, it's a psychic, so, yeah, that's like, really good. And then, hey, you can actually make your Xyz plays. Holy crap, I might actually try and mess around with Heraldics again for the first time in a few years after this. So, yeah, really good card. I love the artwork, too. I wish this deck would get so much more. It needs... I really hope that, like, in a Legendary Duel set in the future, they get more support, but that would also lock them out from getting a link. So, I don't know. And then we got this weird-looking thing. I have no idea what this is up here. I've tried figuring it out. It kind of looks like Zark to me almost, but it's not. Maybe it's like the Heraldic crest. I have no idea. No, it's not. It doesn't look anything like it. Anyway, so it's Resurgam XYZ, continuous trap card. Xyz monsters you control gain 800 attack, and that's pretty nice. Then, second effect, once per turn, you can discard 1 spell card. Target an Xyz monster you control. Spell summon from your extra deck 1 number C or CXYZ monster of the same type as that target, but 1 rank higher, by using that target as material. But if you activated this effect by discarding a spell that was not a rank up, return that summon monster to the extra deck during the end phase. This is treated as a Xyz summon. Transfer that target's materials to the summon monster. For the record, Resurgam is Latin for I shall rise again. This card, I was super hyped for when I was reading it, all the way up to that last line. That last line killed it for me. Okay? The idea of having a continuous trap card that effectively replaces rank up spells was like, holy crap, yes, please. And then they added that last part where, oh, if you discarded a non-rank up magic spell from your hand, that monster gets returned to the extra deck and you get nothing out of it. That effectively kills this card. Actually, no, it does, okay? Because why would you even bother activating this when you can just use the rank up spell, for one thing? Secondly, this card, you unless you're winning that turn, or you summon a monster that has a clause where, like, oh, it can't go back to the extra deck, or so you have something else like GB Hunter or something that prevents it from going back to the extra deck, you basically lose what? You neg yourself. You neg yourself to summon a monster by discarding the spell, and then you lose the monster during the end phase. That is so stupid. This card could have been actually really good for rank up focused archetypes until they did that. Like, what the heck? Like, God, imagine this in, like, Gimmick Puppets, okay? That's probably what you're intended to play then, along with the other archetypes, because they all have rank ups and stuff. So, oh, hey, your turn, you activate Gimmick Puppet of Strings effect to put string counters on all of your opponent's monsters. Then, during your opponent's turn, you activate Resurgam to nuke their board. Or, you know, during their turn. Then they lose their monsters. And you get a draw and you get to burn your opponent. Obviously, more preferably, you would actually rank it up during your turn so that then you can do a bunch of damage. But I digress. The idea of ranking up during your opponent's turn can be really good and allow for some shenanigans. This card isn't it, though. There really needs to just be a flat-out rank-up Magic Searcher. Come on. Okay, so some cleanup from earlier because I missed out on some cards. First and foremost, we got Yoribo, at Ignister. Jeez. Okay, so it's a level 1 Dark Cyberus effect monster, 300 attack, 0 defense. During damage calculation, when your at Ignister monster is attacked, you can discard this card. You take no damage from that battle. And then its second effect is when an Ignister monster or an Spiral Trap card that inflicts damage to your opponent is activated. Even during the damage step, you can quick effect, banish this card from the graveyard, double the damage your opponent takes from it. This card is okay. It's a very mediocre. It had like 4 extra effects in the anime, and they just boiled it down to 2, which are both just kind of okay. I don't think this will actually get played, though. I mean, theoretically, hitting your opponent for like 46 plus 100 with like freaking Phoenix is absurd. But I just don't see it happening. People are going to focus more on the link spam. Maybe they might play one of this guy just as a tech in case it does come up. But it's going to be a tech choice, if anything. This card I don't see getting played at all. This is Eyeshadow. Continuous trap card. You can only activate the second effect once per turn. Activate by targeting one Agnes or monster you control. The targeted monster gains 800 attack. I know they say question mark because they can't really read it, but it was 800 in the anime, so it's probably 800 here. And all of your opponent's monsters must attack it if able. If this face-up card in your spell trap card zone has left the field because of an opponent's effect, is now in the graveyard or banished, draw one card. This card's just kind of okay. They actually nerfed it. It had another effect in the anime where, like, oh, if your opponent battled the Agnister and that monsters that your Agnister battled did not die, you can nuke it, which is pretty cool. But this card's just okay. It really is. I don't see it getting played at all. Maybe some of the other traps will if they get printed, because the deck still has some other really good traps that have yet to be printed, but we'll just have to wait and see. Then we got Utgard Generator Boss of Lies. Yeah, new generated card. The deck needs more support big time. So Utgard Generator Boss of Lies. It's a level 9 light rock effect monster. 2200 attack, 2700 defense. You can only use its second effect once per turn. You can only control one copy of it, of course, as with all the generades, if I remember correctly. Quick effect, you contribute 2 monsters who are generated monsters and or rock monsters, then target 1 card on the field to banish that card. This card's just better spot removal than the other generated boss that gets rid of spot stuff, because yeah, the generades, they have some issues, mostly with the fact that, okay, why is this not gener? Yeah, typed it in right. Hey, there we go. So generades, the biggest thing, they only had one other monster to like really pop stuff, and that was the Boss of Swords. But he also lets your opponent draw cards, and you don't really want to do that. I mean, yeah, I get it that that's like the whole point of the archetype, because it's supposed to like plus off of your opponent plussing, but you don't want to tribute like 4 monsters to pop 4 monsters your opponent's controlling, and then they get to draw 4 cards and then just make the play anyway. So yeah, this card is better overall for the deck. If you're worried about like the tribute fodder, you don't need to. The field spell generates so much tokens that you can do this effect twice and still be okay. So yeah, pretty good card for the deck, and pretty good card for future rock decks as well. Just making sure that I'm not missing anything. So yeah, that's everything. What do you guys think of the new support for all these archetypes? I'm personally most excited for the Gimmick Puppet, the Chronomaly, and of course the Heraldic stuff. Oh god, it's going to be forever waiting for the set. So, what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And share the video, please. It goes a long way to helping out my channel. And see y'all later. Peace out.